to try to stop it before they even tried so much to criminalize it. Okay, so the same policemen, like the secret policemen who were on Mufti, right, to join the protesters. Then they were there encouraging the protesters to be violent. And some of them are just like, no. Then later, the government went back. They brought in, like, they call them goons in Kenya. It's like the political thugs. The next thing, like in large numbers, right? They joined the protest. But do you know the difference? The protesters and these hired goons, you can easily identify them in the crowd. They were rough looking. They were holding weapons like sticks, like chains, stuff to look more or less like they were coming in to disrupt the protest, even though they pretended to be part of the protesters, so that is enough for the policemen to start shooting at them, and that worked. But what is really heartbreaking is that while those who were holding sticks, who were holding weapons, when they were coming and moving towards the protest, they were being protected by the police. Like you could see the police vehicle guiding them on and leading them on to the CBD, the Central Business District in Nairobi, and a few other places. You could see them. And you see this Gen Z, right? They were able to put up faces. About policemen were shooting directly at people like that. Even journalists were not spared. But during this whole drama, you see this Honorable Abina Senator, Honorable Joyce. She is also a lawmaker, I think. She was outside the country when this whole thing blew up. She's surprised and shocked that all of this, I don't even know where to start. Let's go back to Kenya.
Standing before you is Honorable Joyce Atieno Sogo Bensouda, woman representative of Homa Bay County. I've just landed and I've found a confused country. I'm shocked that I don't know where to take the mantle from. I've walked into the parliament and I've seen even sittings there are contrary to the way it's supposed to be. We are fooling Kenyans. I'm seeing Kenya Kwanza today have occupied spaces for Azimio. What is it that they're trying to demonstrate? As I was coming to parliament, I've seen heavy security roadblocks. What is wrong in this country? I'm from Namibia, where we were moving smoothly. I came here knowing very well that debate on finance bill was going to run 2 weeks. What was the rush? A question to ask. What is it that leaders cannot be honest? The 13th parliament is not being truthful as to why we were elected. I've also heard before I left the country, when even members of the government were complaining that they don't know how to dodge, themselves they are under captivity. They cannot be open. Some of them even complained and confirmed that they were whipped to State House so that they are able to make sure that it is yes. I was shocked to read in the social media. I don't know whether content creators were the ones who were lying, to hear a senior government officer in this government talking about no projects would go to places where are going to reject the finance bill. Are we elected to play with Kenyans? Are we ready to serve this country? Are we ready to represent as per the Constitution 2010? I'm shocked. I don't know where to take the mantle from as a woman. I think this country requires adequate and thorough leadership. What is taking place is wrong. As a project planner, what ought to have come first, in my own view, he was the one who was driving this mantle. The Debt and Privatization Committee was supposed to table for this country what is the level and the state of this country in terms of loans, in terms of guarantees given. That would have been the first cycle. The second cycle now was supposed to be the budget to be read, that which I've found being read in Parliament with a section of legislatures. It is sad. This is a budget which is going to be managed by taxpayers' money. From there, Kenyans were supposed to ask themselves, are we ready to finance and afford to implement the proposed budget? Then the third stage now was the finance bill, which was supposed to now take care of how are we going to finance our budget? What are the loans that we are going to give? Have we optimized our debt levels that we don't need to go under debts. I went into a country which is only 2.5 million, and they are sustaining their projects. What is this problem? What is this monster in this country that we cannot revive the existing projects? We cannot start by sustaining what we have. Why do we rush into taxation? The content creators to be taxed at 15%. Do we even train them? Do we offer them opportunities? We are talking of a digitalized country. If we can tax each and everything, even my hair itself today, I cannot afford it because they're already even taxing what is going to be for the hairdressers. This is a nation that requires rigorous advocacy and true leadership. At this pace, I don't know where we are heading to. This is a country that requires real prayers. We are lost, and that's what I can say. We must come out from being lost.
1.5% tax housing levy.
I don't even want to hear that. Whether it is 0.1%, I'm not taking it up. Why? Remember, I'm a primary school teacher. I took loan during that time and built my house. Teachers are organized people. Even I was waiting to represent my teachers. What was this rush of voting yesterday? What was this rush? What was this rush? What is it that we were feeling yesterday at night? We should not force people into a framework without consultation. I believe that public participation should be adequate. This finance bill did not undergo a relevant and secure public participation. The Kenyans are just getting glimpses of it. How do you tax somebody who's already having a fat greenhouse and is comfortable doing agriculture at home? Then you keep on talking of many things, zero rating, exempt, zero rating, exempt, zero rating, exempt. What are you talking about? It is a pity. There are people who have retired, they are old. Will they be coming to Nairobi here and many places to secure for their rental collection? Even we are told that even the houses after they are being built, they are going to be subjected into tax, that somebody is going to be put to collect your money. How is it going to benefit me? People are supposed to be staying in different places and advancing. Who informed, who consulted me on 1.5% reduction from 3%? Were you yourself consulted? Do you need that house? We are joking with this country, and people must rise in arms. When you see policemen shunning away the voices of Kenyans, something is pretty wrong. And the leaders must come out.
Did you see the last part? Or second to the last part, those guys with their sticks and all of that, cops and all that. Yeah, did you see that other part as well, where the CCTV camera, security camera in a shop, caught those two guys who were looting a fabric shop or, clothing shop. Right. Did you see that the two of them, as part of the goons, which the Gen Z have exposed, so to say, right? Those two guys you saw in that video loading those clothes and dumping them away. Now, those are the people who are doing everything they could to distract the protesters by breaking into shops. And then they're just giving those things out like, you want? Come here. You are protesting. Come and collect jeans. Here. They were not taking them for themselves. It was to create that scene of looting, arson, destruction, so that when the police and the military will bring their report of why they killed over 150 people, they will say they were trying to save the properties of innocent people, that people were breaking into their shops. Easy peasy. They will investigate themselves and they will vindicate themselves. Sounds similar? Like in Nigeria? But they were killing people and taking their bodies away. I can't show you all those videos. But I can encourage you, if you are interested, okay? You should go on social media and just put the hashtag reject finance bill. Ruto must go. Hashtag Ruto must go. Hashtag reject finance bill. You will feed your eyes. No, you won't feed your eyes. You will fill your eyes with tears if you are human. So these are the few I could show you without us having to run into any of the, without violating the, the platform's rule here. It's so similar. Something that Ruto could have withdrawn. Like that woman was saying, right? He was practically saying there was no consultation. There was so much behind the scene arm twisting of the lawmakers. Even the lawmakers were threatened themselves that if you vote no, forget it. We are not bringing any project to your constituency this year. They told the lawmakers themselves. 104 of them still voted no. These are behind the scene just because they wanted to. IMF wanted them to pass it. Too much consultation. It's not going to meet the June 30. Kenya, financial year, by law, Kenyan government must sign the financial document, the budget, by the 30th of June. So if Kenya fail to sign it, now that the whole thing is done, enter red, there's no budget, there's no nothing, right? So Kenya is going to have to run on a zero budget for the next 1 year. Zero budget simply means zero economy to some extent, right? Except if they go back to their parliament and extend the time for this, their financial year or what have you, extended by another maybe 90 days, 3 months, from June to September. So by law, Ruto has just 2 days. Now that the riots and this whole thing is everywhere, people are not meeting him. They said they don't want to meet him. He has to go. So definitely a lot of vacuum is going to be created. They are even calling for the dissolving of the parliament. They don't want these lawmakers anymore. They want another elections. They voted them. Now democracy, instead of, in Nigeria, they will tell you to wait to 2027. There's nothing you can do. You have to endure to 2027. They are so confident, right? In Kenya right now, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen, and it doesn't mean that it won't happen. The Kenyans are now saying they don't even want these lawmakers anymore. They don't want them anymore. They want another elections. They also want Ruto to set up a body. I think it's called the IEBD or something. It is actually the body that will be responsible for them to recall all the lawmakers. Yes, right now, that is part of their demand in Kenya right now. They want Ruto to either resign now or constitute that committee. So that committee as a body is like the upper something like that, right? So the citizens from constituencies all over the country, they can now put in to call back all the lawmakers they don't want. And then they can ask for another election. Yeah. Let's go back to Kenya for the 3rd time.
Already engaging.
My name is Dr. Daniel Manduku, Member for Parliament, Yaribari Musaba, and a member of the Orange Democratic Movement Party. First, I want to pass my condolences to the families and the relatives of those dear children that we lost in the demonstrations that took place on Tuesday. I also want to thank the young people who came out to make their voices heard. I want to thank the President for ultimately listening to the people's voice and doing the right thing. But more than that, I want to state here that as elected leaders, we are the problem. And I want to ask the President to immediately dissolve the National Assembly and call for elections within 90 days. I know people will argue that there is no IEBC, but remember, we are party to many international treaties. We can ask the AU, that is African Union, the East African Community, or the UN, to send 9 commissioners to oversee the elections. The first point will be to update the voter register within 30 days, and thereafter conduct fresh elections. Members of Parliament who served barely 2 years can be compensated on their remaining term. It is not tenable that we can go back to that house which has been desecrated. And remember, Article 1 of our Constitution talks about the power belonging to the people, and that we as elected members only exercise it on their behalf. What we saw on Tuesday is that the public came to take back their power, and it is time we called a spade a spade. I want to ask Kenyans not to allow their members of Parliament to go back to Parliament, even myself included. Yesterday, I saw the President reading a statement, and the Deputy reading a statement a few minutes later. 2 statements that seemed to come from different arms of government. It is my considered view that the government has failed in its duties to protect Kenyans. Further than that, we're asking the President to immediately reconstitute his cabinet and get competent people, and I say competent people, to work for him. Lastly, I'm asking Kenyans and all those young people who came out to demonstrate to ensure that no member of Parliament goes back to Parliament until we go for fresh and new election. We are relying on you, Gen Z. You've come out.
Inside Parliament Kitchen, we reject Finance Bill 2024.
ya parliament. Hili jikoni ya parliament live. Vitu ni live. Ona manyama ndugu yangu. Sasa nyama iko hapa ndani. Kuna kuku. Kuna samaki, utakula samaki, kuku. Wewe kuku iko huku. Sasa zimebaki.
Kwa bidii inanisha watu wengi, nyinyi mnaiba. 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 Hii inalisha watu wengi, mnaiba. Yoyo! Kitoyo! Huyo!
So my own highlight of that is that senator, that member of the parliament, that said they were the problems. We are the problems. So we are calling on Ruto to dissolve the parliament. In fact, the fact that the Kenyan people have taken it upon themselves to stop them from enslaving the whole country, that they desecrated the hallowed chamber of their National Assembly, is enough to let everyone not to go back in there as a lawmaker. Just go home. So that's the highlight of my own happenings in Kenya yesterday. A senator who said, listen, we are the problems. Okay? Let the people choose afresh. Dissolve the parliament, dissolve the National Assembly. And while you are doing that, maybe you should, appoint competent people into your government. As for us as lawmakers, that house is already desecrated. Only people elected by the people should be sitting there, not these ones who have sold themselves off. You know, but Nigerian lawmakers, Nigerian politicians, they are the luckiest. But their own day is coming. And it is coming very soon. It's just that when it comes, it's going to be so bloody, so out of control, that is likely not be like that of Kenya. It's going to be really bloody. You see, the boldness, the confidence of this Tinubu and his gang is totally out of this world. But whenever the all hell broke loose, you go hear them. And one of the neighbors of the Kenyans, the Zimbabweans, they themselves have started gathering too. Yeah, it is already spreading to Zimbabwe. Some said it's already on the way to Zambia, Gambia, as well as Uganda. It's coming down to Ghana. Ghanaians, the Ghanaians online are already putting out a poster. Something we asked to happen in September. They are putting a date. September, 3 months away. But it is coming down. But the Zimbabwe government is not going to have that. If you try that in this country, their president will listen. The people, their president.
I'm fully aware that certain unruly elements, in collaboration with our detractors, have activated their perennial tendencies of seeking to disturb our security, peace, and prevailing tranquility environment in our country. They must be warned that my government will not broker any form of mischief under whatever pretext. The law will take its course without fear or favor. Atidi mhesva mukono todzisvasvanga.
So the Zimbabwe president is already getting the hint. Is likely going to be next. Yeah, it's spreading, but with the help of platforms like this, you will be up to date, in tune, and you won't be in the dark whenever the whenever the vehicle or the ship of these batches in your country.